Okay, good. So this week's game of the week is in an endgame position. Actually, not much the game. It's from Berlin. It was a game between Mkhitaryan versus Grandelius. And what I like about it is the technique with which Grandelius sort of converts the position. Here, White just played Rook 6 E4, and I think he just probably missed this idea of taking on A3. Now C2 is under attack, so the knight is not gonna stop making damage. What he did was he took on A3, and after bishop C3, he's just lost a pawn, a very important pawn. The bishops are the same, so the advantage is not huge, but it is something. And he continues with check. The king goes to F8. So if you go, let's say here, unfortunately there's this check, and this bishop takes H6, and the position is no longer as clearly winning as it was, probably better for white. So after rook check, he goes king F8. It's a good move because the bishop is still attacking the rook, and you have to move. And here, exchanging bishops won't help. Won't help white in this case because there's this check at the back. So what I mean is, if black goes for this check, you can't do this because now there's this check and the rook on H8 falls. In the game, black played bishop D4, again gaining a tempo with the rook. The rook went to E4, which Grandelius again with this very small nuance attacking the other rook. And now it's interesting because the rook has to move back. It can't take here because now after this check, king moves and bishop check, you drop the rook. So a mixture of tactics and technique to get the position calm. He's a pawn up, but he wants to get to a position point where he can start applying a proper technique to convert. So here, he goes check, and this is a forced move because if the king moves, again, you get this bishop tactic, pinning the rook and winning the exchange. So he has to play rook here, and here we get to the first point, which I found very instructive. So in endgames where you are better, you want to exchange one pair of rooks. This sort of guarantees you that your opponent does not have counterplay. So by taking on E1, now black gets time to implement the second stage of converting these kind of positions, which is that you need to activate your pieces according to their value. So in the endgame, some people may not know this, but the king is worth 4 points. So you activate the rook before the king, and then the king, and then the bishop. So here, king F7 to activate the rook, A5, rook here. Now the rook is active, and here, black has a choice. He could play rook C7, defending the pawn. And one fundamental you need to know about rook endings is that the rook should never be used as a defensive piece, but rather as an active piece. And this is the choice that black makes, rook to D4, and after bishop E3, again, he's got a choice. Okay, a move like rook here would probably be wrong. Let's say even just after here, you take, maybe take with a pawn. Now white has got a pass pawn he didn't have. Maybe you're still winning, but you don't want to do that. So keep it in realms where you're winning. And this idea is from, if you look at Rubinstein's games, he tended to have rooks which used to do more than the opponent. So in this particular case, the rook defends the bishop, at the same time attacks the A pawn, at the same time attacks the C pawn. So after take, he still attacks the pawn. So if you defend the pawn poorly, let's say with rook E2, he just plays rook A4 and he's going to win the A pawn. So white cleverly attacks the B7 pawn first, and after B6, then goes rook to b2, defending c2, and being in a position where if you play rook c4, he can play rook a2. Now here, black does something that is very important again in endings. He fixes the pawn on the a file so that when he attacks it, it can move. Let's say, for instance, if he had just gone like this, this would have been a fairly reasonable move to make for white, but he just rules it out completely by playing a5, and now rook a2. Now you get a scenario where the rook is stuck, protecting these pawns, and black has got an extra piece, the king, which can come and assist to attack these pawns. But he goes here first, the idea being to restrict the king. You see this technique in Carlsen's games a lot. He has a tendency to lock out his opponent's king. And after king h2, now the king jumps in and the position becomes hopeless. And here we find that white resigns. The reason he resigns is because this position is actually quite lost, and there's nothing much he can do.